Hello and welcome to The Hindu. Today, August 8th, veteran left leader and former West Bengal Chief Minister Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee passed away at his South Kolkata residence at around 8:30 in the morning following prolonged illness. As we all know, he succeeded Jyoti Basu as the Chief Minister of West Bengal in the year 2000, and he served two terms as the Chief Minister from 2000 to 2011. And then in 2011, in the state polls, Mamata Banerjee led the Trinamool Congress to a historic win and ended the 34-year long communist rule in West Bengal. But to know more about Mr. Bhattacharjee's impact on the politics of West Bengal, today we have with us Shiv Sahay Singh.
Buddhadeb Babu was one of the last communist greats or communist icons, and he has left quite an impact on West Bengal politics. His passing away one of the last communist icons in the state. Uh, he was chief minister for about 11 years, but then he was also a key minister in the Jyoti Basu's cabinet, and he became chief minister at a very crucial time when the state was entering a new millennium, and there were hopes and aspirations of the people, new hopes and aspirations of the people, and that is why he has left an indelible mark on the politics of West Bengal. uh, he tried to bring in industrialization as a leader of the Communist Party, and his regime had was marked with so many contradictions. So his passing away is really a momentous occasion for us in West Bengal.
Like you said, he was a minister in Jyoti Basu's cabinet. So, can you tell us a bit more about his ascent to power when he was made chief minister? What about before that? How was his journey?
Yes. So he got associated with the student movement. He was associated with the Student Federation of India, and then the Youth Wing, the Democratic Youth Federation of India. He was a key minister. He was also deputy chief minister, and one important portfolio which he held was the Department of Culture. If we can recall, then we have a film festival which is held every year, and Buddhadeb Babu was instrumental in having this film festival. He got delegates from foreign countries, and he was very crucial in having the cultural complexes of Nanda and Rabindra Sadan, and so on. So when he's looked when his legacy is not only looked as a politician, but also somebody who loved literature, culture, performing arts, and even cinema.
Since we're talking about his regime, even though it came to an end, but he ruled for 10 years as the CM. Could you tell us a little more about his regimes and some of the biggest highlights of his career?
So the biggest highlight was definitely when a chief minister from a communist party started going after industrialization, and he was pulling all stops to industrialize the state. uh, he would often refer to paucity of jobs and what will these young students from universities do. So particularly in the last term of the left front, after 2006, there was a lot of emphasis on industrialization, and that is the time when uh, we have agitations in Singur and Nandigram and everything coming up. So this
Yeah.
last region from 2006 to 2011 was one of the most, was a very difficult time. There was push for industrialization, and then there were these resistance movement happening in the state. In the Jungle Mahal region, there were Maoist activities. So he had to tackle several challenges on different fronts, and that is what maybe led to the defeat of the left front. But that was a very crucial time when there was this promise of a new Bengal. that was a very interesting time from 2006 to 2011.
So you mentioned that there was an attempt at industrialization while when he was chief minister from 2000 to 2011. But what were the major roadblocks and challenges that he faced while he was serving as chief minister?
So the state was in some kind of a stagnation, and suddenly from there, there was this push for industrialization, and multi-crop agricultural lands were being acquired, and it was in a state of flux, and people did not know, whether what was right or what was wrong. But the promise of Tata setting up the plant at Singur came up with lot of was viewed with lot of enthusiasm, and once the Tatas decided to pull out, then the state has never been personally also Buddhadeb Bhattacharjee and the state has never been able to come out of that whole shock, as we may put it. There have been attempts later, but then this ghost of Singur has always haunted West Bengal, and many believe that West Bengal missed the bus. One another thing that was very interesting about Buddhadev Babu's character is that he was not only considered a quintessential Bhaudulok, but he was his integrity and honesty was never questioned. Nobody from even opposition parties would raise a finger of corruption on him, and that is how he's and how and why he stood apart from all the other politicians of our times. He stayed in this small two-bedroom flat all his life, did not take up the chief minister's accommodation, and today only some leader from his party was telling that his salary as the chief minister went to the party and a small sum was given to him, and his wife was the main earning member who contributed to the family. He'd never, he lived a very down to earth, a very simple life.
During the last years of his regime, there was a very turbulent time. There was a lot of violence in the state. What was that time like, if you could run us through?
The time was very difficult, and by 2009, 10, uh, you know people had got an idea that this regime was on its way out. As I said, that there were multiple challenges on multiple front. There was this ultra left Maoist movement that has come up. There were liberated zones like Lalgarh and all that. And then there was also a sense after the Sachar committee recommendations that the Muslims in West Bengal who were voting for the left for the past 3 decades were not given adequate representation in government jobs and all that. This all led to the defeat of the left. But but again, regimes come, regimes go. They out. They some survive a little longer. But the legacy of Buddhadeb Bhattacharya would be as a politician who tried to make changes. He's a politician who tried. Maybe it costed it. It came at a cost of the ending the 34-year left rule. But then he tried definitely to do something to set the the industrial ecosystem right, which the state was lagging in the 80s, in the 90s, and the
Yeah.
70s.
What would you say has been his impact on the communist, his regime? What has been the impact of his regime on the communist movement in not just Bengal but also in India?
So across the country, he's a very, he will be considered, and he's considered as a very respectable, communist leader. And we know from the tributes that have come in from across the country, and the left might not have a significant presence in the, it doesn't have any seats in the Lok Sabha from West Bengal, nor it has a seat in assembly. But the new leadership of the left can take take some kind of lesson from him, some kind of an inspiration from him, as to, he was steadfast in his commitment to the communist cause. And even in the in his last regimes, when he fell ill and when he was being treated, he never liked being in the limelight. He always wanted to come home from the hospital. So he has left a kind of a very he is one of the shining examples of left leaders, who stand apart from across the political horizon because of their integrity, honesty, and their commitment to work for the masses. And this is, now that the legacy of the 34 left rule is slowly fading away, and the new leadership is emerging. He can be, an inspiring figure in the whole communist movement and the left movement.
How do you think it will impact the future generations of the left front movement? Because the thing is it's dwindling down, and left has failed to secure any seats in the state this year.
Right.
So, how do you think
So
a
we
major
see that,
leader
he
passing
was
away?
he was away from active politics since 2016
Yeah.
mostly. He, in the recently concluded Lok Sabha elections, we see that the CPIM came up with an AI generated kind of an audio of his appealing the voters to vote for the left candidate. So he was out of politics for quite some time. So it is not going to make a remark. His death will not bring some kind of a remarkable change. But what it can do is that, he was, even when he was alive, he was a very important leader to look up to. And now that we are seeing a resurgence of the new left and new CPIM leadership per se in West Bengal, students from SFI, from DYFI, they taking the mantle, and they, doing, campaigning, contesting elections. This is also a very important time for the left movement in the state, when the politics is caught between the binary of the Trinamool and the BJP. So this is a very interesting time. So he will be like a shining example as to, what as to uh, what kind of a leader he was. But then a lot of work needs to be done on the ground, and to convince the voters that, we can deliver on that.
Thank you, Shiv. Thank you, Shrabana, for your wonderful insights. That brings us to the end of this conversation. Stay tuned to The Hindu for more such videos.